The 2025 Rose Bowl promises an exciting clash between number 8 Ohio State and number 1 Oregon, as both teams look to make their mark in the college football playoff. Despite Oregon's earlier victory over Ohio State in the season, the Buckeyes enter the game as slight favorites. Key game information. Date: January 1st. Time: 5 p.m. Eastern Time. TV: ESPN. Line: Ohio State minus 2.5. Total: 55.5. Team performance. Ohio State. The Buckeyes dominated Tennessee in their first playoff game, winning 42-17. They quickly built a 21-0 lead and showcased their national title credentials. However, they will need to avenge a 32-31 loss to Oregon earlier this season in this Rose Bowl matchup. Oregon, the Ducks, boasting an undefeated record, have been one of the most consistent teams this season. Their 36-18 average margin of victory highlights their strength. And their notable wins include Boise State, Ohio State, and Penn State. Oregon's success has been built on both high-scoring offense and solid defense. Key players to watch. Oregon QB Dillon Gabriel, a former Heisman finalist. Gabriel has been stellar in his final season at Oregon. With 3.558 yards, 28 TDs, and just 6 interceptions, he has been one of the nation's top QBs. Gabriel's ability to avoid turnovers will be crucial against Ohio State. Ohio State QB Will Howard. Howard had a strong performance in Ohio State's playoff victory over Tennessee, throwing for over 300 yards and a touchdown. He threw for 326 yards in the earlier loss to Oregon and will need to repeat that level of performance if the Buckeyes are to win. Oregon RB Jordan James. James was key in Oregon's victory over Ohio State earlier this season, rushing for 115 yards and a touchdown. On the season, he has 1.253 yards and 15 touchdowns, making him a major factor in both setting up the passing game and controlling the clock. Ohio State WR Emeka Egbuka. Egbuka had a strong performance against Tennessee, showing he can be a primary target. Despite his lower numbers this season compared to 2022, he has been a consistent performer. In the earlier loss to Oregon, he recorded 10 catches for 93 yards and a touchdown. Key to the game. The main question for Ohio State will be how loose and focused they are, especially after their dramatic win over Tennessee. In their earlier game against Oregon, the teams were nearly identical in terms of yardage, with Ohio State rushing for 141 yards and Oregon for 155. However, Ohio State's penalties, 8 for 70 yards, and turnovers, 2 fumbles, were costly, while Oregon played clean football with no turnovers and just 3 penalties for 25 yards. If Ohio State can limit mistakes, particularly in the turnover and penalty departments, they stand a good chance of avenging their earlier loss. For the Buckeyes, Quinshon Judkins will be crucial. He struggled in the first meeting, rushing for just 23 yards on 11 carries. If he can contribute more effectively alongside Tre'Veon Henderson, who had 87 yards on 10 carries in the first matchup, Ohio State's offense could find more balance and put pressure on Oregon. The Rose Bowl will undoubtedly be a thrilling rematch, with both teams showcasing offensive firepower and the potential for dramatic plays.